Hey, it's a Mr. Skelemistic. I went to see the Warcraft movie today, and you just know I've got to put my 2 cents in there about it, give you my thoughts on the matter, talk a little bit about it, and I must say at the end, some of the content that I'm going to be discussing will probably be considered a spoiler. So this is how I'm going to run us all down for y'all. At the beginning, I'm going to have this border up right here. This is the Alliance border, and while this is on, it's stuff that I can talk about free. I won't be spoiling anything. I will take great pains to not spoil anything. Once I pop this border on, the Horde border, I will be talking about things that actually happened in the movie. And if you haven't seen it, it'll probably tell you everything that happened, and it'll mess it up. So let's pop back to the Alliance border, and we'll get started on this review. First things first. This is the absolute first thing that came to my mind. Everything about this movie screams sequels. Everything. The way they've written it, the way that the timeline goes, I mean, just the way they left things open, everything is screaming a sequel or sequels to this whole thing. So if you're a Warcraft fan, I'm pretty sure you got more to look forward to. As well as the fact of the writing and directing and all that bit, not like that, and all the plot things that were left open. The movie is already done well in Europe, enough that I can't see why they wouldn't do a sequel. So, sequel is definitely, or sequels, hell, they may make a series out of it for all I know, is definitely in the works. Now, that being said, let's talk about this movie in particular, and some things that I liked and some things that I didn't really like. First and foremost, the critics are all over the map on this. Some of them are pretty good, but a lot of them, I mean, just trashed it into the toilet like bad, and they shouldn't have. I don't feel they should have. This movie, on a production level, I mean, I've seen a lot worse movies than this, as far as CGI, as far as plot, as far as direction, as far as acting. I have seen a lot, and I'm sure you guys have too, a lot worse movies. I feel that the critics may, or some of them, may have not given us quite the fair run that I would expect for them to give it, and I think the reason might be that, well, a lot of those critics aren't Warcraft players. I think that they judge this movie based solely on being a movie standing on its own right and not as a movie based on the Warcraft game. I think that if all these critics were players, it would have done better. Simply because this movie, the core of this movie is based on lore. It's based on the video game. It's based on you knowing the lore of the world, what has happened. Now, if you know the lore completely, you'll know that, well, they fudged the lore, they fudged the history just a little bit with the whole Lane Wren thing and the start of the war and all that bit. That's not exactly how it started out in the actual game history. That being said, I think that all the characters that they had there, I mean, they had all the essential characters there, at least. You know, they didn't, with the exception of Lane's father, they didn't really leave anything major or big out that was important. They did fudge the timeline, chalk it up to creative license if you like. That, I think, won't appeal to someone who is, well, as anal retentive about lore as I am. Okay, if you're going to make a video game, if you're going to make a movie based on the video game, stick with the lore. That's my thought on that. And that's one of the things it was okay, but I wanted to see him. If you're going to start at the beginning, start at the beginning. Don't leave a little bit of this out, a little bit of it. Anyway, okay, I'm ranting on about the lore. Let me stop doing it. That being said, another one of the things that was okay, but I wasn't really digging it very well, was some of the CGI. Some of the CGI was, to my mind, straight out of scale. Whenever you see this, you'll see what I mean. The orcs are really big. I mean, much, much bigger than the game presents them. And there was some scaling issues that I saw. For instance, the hands on some of them. If you get some close-ups of the hands there, they had some straight-up meat hooks on them bad boys. I mean, meat hooks. Dude's finger looked like like the fingers of the Hulk in the Avengers whenever he, or the fingers of of the Hulk in one of the Hulk movies whenever he was talking to Betty, he'd pick up Betty and his finger was like as thick as her body. That kind of thing. I think they had some real, that was my real problems with the scaling issues, was the scaling issues in the CGI. I liked the looks of them. I mean, I liked how they moved for the most part. They moved right. I didn't see any kind of hinky-jinkiness in the steps. They didn't stutter step or do anything foolish or anything like that. They moved like I expected a really big hulking creature to move. That part of it was cool. My real issue, like I said, is with the scaling and certain things being bigger than they really ought to have been, I think. Now, the acting. I think if I had a favorite actor in this, it would have been Medivh. I think that actor did the best job as far overall, all of them. And the reason I think that too is that, well, maybe I feel I was exposed to Medivh more in more scenery and more of the gut of the movie than I was even with Lothar. I mean, Lothar was in the largest part of the movie, but I don't really feel I was exposed to him. I mean, his lines just were like I don't know, like canned goods. They were, I didn't really feel Lothar. I didn't feel him at all. As far as some of the other things I didn't really get with. Azeroth is a very diverse world as far as the races go, and I felt that they could have represented the other races more in this, especially with an initial movie where you're doing introductions to people or you're introducing things. Have more of the world and of the background in it. I feel they really were sort of skimpy on the scenery and really sort of skimpy on the races involved. I mean, I think I saw a Draenei at the beginning in the cage, but I didn't really see a lot of really good representation of the other races. There's, you see the dwarves and you see the night elves, but they're lacking in that department. I feel they need to have a lot more of the diversity. Azeroth is a hugely rich world. The mounts, I mean, that Azeroth has. I would like to see more of that stuff, especially in an introductory movie. Now, the things that I did like the scenery that they did have was beautiful, was really rich, was really well presented. You knew where you were at in the movie. Whenever they were in a place, you knew where they were at. I mean, if you've played the game a lot. I'm sorry, if the regular movie watcher wouldn't, but a player would. That's one of the things that they did. I feel they did well. They represented the areas and the scenery well. They just didn't show a lot of it. That was the goods and the bads. All right. Now, with all these things that I've said now, I want to get into some of the things about the movie, about the plots and stuff like that I didn't like and I did like. I knew right away that Durotan's baby... Okay, wait. I almost did it. Spoilers right now. There we go. Okay, now let me get back to it. I knew right away that Durotan's baby was Thrall. And, I mean, I guess, again, that's one of those things. If you're a player, you know these kind of things. And you're like, wow, that's cool. I did not like how Durotan and Draka ended up. I didn't like that at all. I mean, that was too quick. They were on and off too quick as far as I was concerned. They needed to go in the second movie, which there's going to be one, but they needed to die in the second movie, not the first one. I mean, that's too quick for them. Let's see, some other things that... Lothar had his cool griffin mount, and I did like that, and that was good. Give me some other... you know what? This is Azeroth. Give me a freaking dragon. Just one. One wiggly little dragon. It could be any type, color, shape, form, whatever. Give me one little wiggly dragon. One. The only mount that I saw that was out of unusualness at all. I mean, they had a lot of horses. Everybody's got a lot of horses. The only one was the griffin. I want to see more of that stuff. I think after Medivh, the second actress, or the second character that I liked the best was Garona. I feel that Garona was really well played. She did all the things she was supposed to do when she was supposed to do them, that sort of thing. But I was really rooting for her and Lothar. I really was. They made me root for them. And I'm not ordinarily like a kissy face sort of person. I was rooting for them. I was like, yeah, come on, guys. Even though I knew it was doomed to failure, I was still rooting for them. I felt myself rooting for them, I have to say. And I felt bad at the ending whenever, well, she did what she did. I'm not going to spoil it too bad now. So, Garona was good, and Medivh was good. Let's see. Some of the other things that I really did like about this. I liked, and this is a big one actually, it's not just movie related, but it's game related. As a general rule, if you're not a Horde player, or if you're not a player at all, everybody looks at the Horde as bad guys. I mean, everybody does. Some players, but non-players also, will look at the Horde as bad guys. They got, for one thing, the color red, which is like anger and all that bit. And then Lion's got the cool color blue and all that. So, and they're really set up for failure as good guys. They really are. But in this movie, I really appreciated the honor system that they had. Okay, it gives you a new facet to look at as far as, well, not necessarily the Horde, but the Orcs, as far as that. Well, the Horde too, but the Orcs especially. I liked their honor code. I liked how Lothar won his deal fair and square, or his duel fair and square, and they were going to let him go despite what Gul'dan was going to have to say about it. You know, they all said, "Hey, dude, whip that ass. It's time to go. You won, fair and square. Time to go." And I liked that. I liked how they stuck up for each other. I wasn't really cool with Doomhammer and all the smashing of the Orcs and you know, that bit of it. But I generally felt that they had a great sense of community, and I liked that. I liked getting to see that inner interaction, for lack of a better way of putting it, with them. And that was really one of the most enjoyable parts of the movie, seeing how they interacted together and seeing their honor system and seeing them work together. All of this leads up to what I actually think about the movie, and that is this. Guys, it is, I don't give a damn what those critics say. It is well worth you going in there and plunking down your $6 or $8 or $12 or however much it is in the area that you're in to go and see this movie. If you're a player, I think it'll be a much more enriching experience for you, except for, well, those annoying little things that aren't exactly in the game if you're as retentive as I am. But if you're not a Warcraft player, then even though some of the acting was kind of flat and some of the scenery was kind of, I mean, some of the, you know, they kind of hop, skipped and popped around on the plot a lot, even though they did those kind of things, everybody enjoys a good bash 'em up movie. Everybody. And more than likely, if you're not a Warcraft player, then you went with a Warcraft player, you know, kind of supporting their habit and that kind of thing. So you at least got them there to explain to you what's really going on. That's how it was with me and my girl. She doesn't play Warcraft, but she and I went together, and I kind of filled her in on things as they were going along, and she really enjoyed the movie. And I think that a lot of you are going to get that. I also think that if they can at least make the sequel as good as they made this one, they'll keep doing fine. They really will. All right, guys, this is it. If you have any questions about this that's not going to spoil the movie and you want to put them in the comments, by all means, we'll talk about it. I could debate this crap all night, all night long. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button a good hard smash, because it's going to help me out. And as well, share this video because, well, everybody wants to know what's going on with Warcraft. Until next time, this is Skeletal Mystic reminding you that whatever else you do, always love the game. Peace! Gold! Everyone wants it. Some people really need it, but so few seem to have it. All across Azeroth, people are doing the most outlandish things to get their hands on it. In this video, we're going to go through some facts, some rumors, and some outright lies about how to become a Warcraft millionaire and hit